There comes a moment in life when the things we once called progress start to look more like barriers. A new device, a new way of paying bills, a new application. These words can feel heavy, as though the world has decided to move faster than our legs or our minds are willing to carry us. And it's natural to feel that way. At 30, change felt exciting, like an open road. At 70, it can feel like a steep hill. But the truth is, the hill isn't there to stop you. It's there to remind you that your steps have become more precious, more deliberate. Picking up a smartphone at 89 may sound almost amusing to some, but for others, it feels like standing in front of a locked door. You might look at the screen and think, "This isn't for me. I've lived my life just fine without it." And that thought is understandable, even comforting. Yet inside that locked door could be something surprisingly gentle. The laughter of a grandchild you haven't seen in months, a photo from an old friend who now lives far away, or even just the calm reassurance that with one touch you can reach help if you ever need it. So often we treat technology as though it's asking us to keep up, but maybe it's time to flip that thought. Maybe it's waiting for us, patiently, until we're ready. Aging changes the way we see challenges. We no longer rush to master every new trick. Instead, we begin to ask, do I really need this? Will it bring me peace or joy? These are wise questions. They are the questions of someone who knows life is not endless and who values what is truly meaningful. And perhaps when it comes to learning something new, like holding a smartphone in your hands for the first time, the deeper question is not, can I do this, but what might I gain if I give myself permission to try? Think for a moment. When was the last time you surprised yourself? Not because someone else pushed you, not because you felt pressure, but simply because you chose to take one more step than you thought possible. These are the moments that keep us alive, not just breathing, but truly alive. A smartphone, strange as it may seem, can be one of those steps. I don't mean you must suddenly know every feature or application. That's not the point. The point is allowing yourself to stay curious, to let your hands and mind play with something new, and to discover that your story of growth didn't end years ago. It is still being written. And sometimes it begins with a single tap on a small glowing screen. I'd love to know something from you. Where are you right now as you're reading this? Share your location in the comments, not because it's required, but because it reminds us all that no matter the distance, we are traveling this path of discovery together. The first step in making peace with this small device is not about pressing the right buttons or memorizing where everything is. It begins with a shift inside you, a gentle decision to stop fighting against it. So many older friends I've spoken to tell me they feel judged by that piece of glass in their hands, as though it is silently whispering, "You're too old for this." But the truth is, it isn't judging you at all. It's just waiting for you to decide what role, if any, it will play in your life. I remember Maria, 82, from Warsaw. For 3 years, she kept her phone in a drawer, untouched, almost like an unwelcome guest she didn't know how to approach. Every time her granddaughter tried to show her something, Maria felt overwhelmed, so she would smile politely and change the subject. But one day she admitted, "I realized it wasn't the phone I was afraid of. It was the feeling of being left behind." That honesty opened a door. With patience and kindness, her granddaughter showed her how to unlock the screen, how to adjust the brightness so her eyes didn't strain, and how to make a single phone call. Maria laughed that day, a little nervously, but also with relief. The phone wasn't a mountain, it was just a new road, and she could walk it at her own pace. Maybe you recognize yourself in Maria's story. Maybe your phone has also been resting on a shelf, or maybe you use it only to answer calls and nothing more. There's nothing wrong with that, but I invite you to look at it differently, not as a stranger that needs to be conquered, but as a quiet companion that can adapt to you. You don't need to know everything. You only need to start with what matters most. If brightness makes the screen easier on your eyes, that's a victory. If you can find the home button and feel secure knowing how to return to it, that's a victory. If you can make one call without help, that's a victory. These little beginnings are not childish, they are profound acts of courage. Because every small success whispers to you, see, you're still capable, you're still growing. And isn't that a beautiful reminder at any age? So perhaps your first step is not to ask, how do I master this phone, but rather, what one simple thing would make my life lighter if I knew how to do it here? Maybe it's being able to see a photo. Maybe it's pressing a button to call your daughter. Maybe it's just unlocking the screen without fear. Choose one and let that be enough for now. If you find these words comforting, I encourage you to subscribe. I share gentle, step-by-step guidance made especially for people like you who want to keep growing without pressure, without haste, and with the dignity of knowing they are still authors of their own story. Because truly, the story is still being written, one small step at a time. One of the reasons learning feels so different now is not because your will is weaker or your mind less capable, but because your body and brain have changed in ways that deserve respect. Science tells us that as we age, the connections in the brain, the little bridges that carry thoughts from one place to another, become slower.
It's not that they stop working. It's that they ask for more patience, more repetition, more gentleness. Short-term memory, the kind that remembers where you just put your glasses or what button you pressed a moment ago, can feel slippery. But long-term memory remains strong, and with the right practice, even new skills can move from the short shelf of memory into the deeper cupboards where they stay for good. That is why repeating the same small action each day, unlocking the phone, finding the call button, practicing one message, eventually becomes second nature. It is not about talent, it is about allowing your brain the time to carve a new path. Your hands, too, might tell a story of change. Maybe your fingers are not as quick or precise as they once were. That is why pressing a small icon can sometimes feel frustrating. But here is the comfort. The phone can be adjusted to you. You can make the letters bigger so your eyes rest instead of strain. You can use voice commands so your mouth can take over where your fingers hesitate. You can even use a stylus pen, giving your hand a steadier, more familiar motion like holding a pencil again. And your eyes, perhaps they tire more quickly now or find bright screens uncomfortable. This is not a weakness. It is simply a reminder that your body has earned the right to gentleness. Lowering brightness, choosing larger text, or even using dark mode are not signs of limitation. They are acts of wisdom, like putting on reading glasses when you need them. When you begin to understand these natural shifts, you stop blaming yourself for the slowness or the mistakes. You start to see them for what they are, a new rhythm of learning. And in many ways, that rhythm is more beautiful because it is deliberate. It asks you to be present with each step, to notice the small victories that others might rush past. So instead of asking, why is this so hard for me now, try asking, how can I make this kinder for myself? That question changes everything. It removes the shame and replaces it with care. Your brain is still capable of creating new pathways. Neuroscience calls it plasticity, but in everyday life it feels like hope. The quiet hope that even at 89, 90, or beyond, your story of growth is not finished. It may take a little longer, yes, but time is not your enemy here. Time is your companion, urging you forward slowly, step by step, in a way that honors who you are now. When you finally hold the phone in your hand and decide to do something with it, the most helpful thing is to take one small action at a time. Think of it like learning to walk again after sitting for too long. You don't rush, you just place one foot in front of the other and let your body remember the rhythm. The first step is simply unlocking the phone. You press the button or touch the screen and watch how it lights up. If you make a mistake, nothing is broken. You can always try again. The second step is finding the symbol for calls. It often looks like a small green telephone. Press it gently and notice how it opens into a list of numbers or names. Even if you don't call anyone yet, just recognize the path you've opened. Then comes saving a contact. Perhaps you ask someone you trust to show you how to type in a name and a number. Once it's saved, that person is just one tap away. You no longer need to remember a string of digits. Your phone can hold it for you. Doesn't that feel lighter already? After that, you might try sending a simple message, not a long one, just a few words, like, "Hello, I am thinking of you." The joy is not in crafting perfect sentences, but in knowing that your thought can travel instantly to someone you care about. Finally, you can explore the camera. Open it, point it towards something familiar, and press the button. Don't worry if the photo isn't perfect. The gift is in capturing a moment, a flower on your table, or the smile of a loved one. These steps may look ordinary to someone younger, but to you they are proof that you are still learning, still alive to the world's small wonders. And what matters most is not speed, but gentleness. Give yourself permission to pause after each action, to breathe and notice the little victory. This is not a race, and no one is timing you. The only measure is the quiet satisfaction that comes when you realize you have done something today you could not do yesterday. Isn't that a kind of miracle? If you stumble, if your hands shake, if you forget, remind yourself that this is exactly how growth looks at any age. You are not behind. You are simply on your own path. And maybe, as you take these steps, you'll discover that the phone is no longer a stranger, but a small bridge to connection and joy.
His words are a quiet reminder that wisdom is not about doing more, but about knowing what truly matters. So ask yourself gently, what would make this device meaningful for me? Perhaps it is the safety of knowing you can reach help in an emergency. Perhaps it is the delight of seeing your granddaughter's drawings. Perhaps it is simply setting a reminder to take your medicine on time. Each of these is enough on its own because they add lightness to your day. As we grow older, the way we value things changes. We no longer chase everything. We choose carefully. And in choosing carefully, we discover freedom. That is the gift of age. It allows us to say no to what is unnecessary and yes to what brings peace. So let the phone be not a source of pressure, but a quiet companion. Let it serve you instead of you serving it. Let it carry the small pieces of life that matter most, so your heart and mind can be free for the things no device can ever replace: conversation, presence, memory, love. And now I want to leave you with a gentle invitation. If these words touched something in you, consider subscribing so you can keep receiving guidance that honors your pace and your wisdom. And tell me in the comments, what is the very first thing you would like to try on your smartphone? Your answer may inspire someone else to take their own first step.